A stovetop range. Tonight, I-Team reporter Marilyn Moritz exposes the hidden danger live.
This is old and used, but this is a pretty typically sized kitchen range. Now, a 3-year-old weighs about 30 pounds. Now, imagine if he opens the oven door, decides to climb on, it's enough to do this.
I was boiling chicken on the back burner. My 2.5-year-old pulled the oven lid down and he stood on it. You know, I heard the crash and then both of them started screaming. And I could just feel that he was burning and...
Boiling water doused baby brother Jamie.
Sucky.
He's now 4 years old, rambunctious, and scarred. His mom had no idea her apartment stove could tip so easily.
You know, I can't protect him against something I don't know about.
Put your hand right here, push down. And if the range tips, it's not affixed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attorney Dan Sciano crusades against tip-over ranges. He's seen too much of this.
This one is designed to attach into the wall or into the floor.
These are anti-tip devices. Look down there. The range slides in. The industry made them standard equipment in 1990. Too late for Jennifer Villarreal.
As a parent, you'll never forget it. I mean, just the smell in the room, you know, it's something that'll never go away.
She was only 3. She turned the oven to broil. The range toppled over, trapping, cooking her arm. It could not be saved.
We never heard about this before, and it was a shock to walk in there and see that it had flipped.
They sued and settled $1.5 million. Still bitter, this dad wants the corporations to use their money on fewer lawsuits, more public warning.
You know, it's not war. You don't have acceptable losses. You know, we're talking about children.
Children like Jennifer and Jamie.
How'd you get that boo-boo?
Yeah,
How'd you get it? What happened?
on the stove,
What happened to the stove?
tipped over.
The Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers tells me that just last month they renewed their public awareness campaign. Now, these clips take only seconds to make, minutes to install, and the parents of Jenny and Jamie would like all of you parents to make sure your range is secured. Tomorrow night, the story of another little boy, and we'll see if the San Antonio Housing Authority has learned its lesson. Reporting live, I'm Marilyn Moritz.
The landlord learned its lesson.
Raymond Hernandez still avoids the kitchen when Mom cooks. His scars run deep. Dora Peril had just turned off boiling eggs.
I think he tried to reach for it. I don't know, trying to look up what was cooking or something, I don't know. The stove had completely hit the floor and he couldn't move. And I just remember pulling him out of there and putting him on the table and taking off his clothes.
Boiling water scalded Raymond, not yet 2 years old. He lived in San Antonio public housing, and it never should have happened.
But it could have been prevented. They were told about it.
Eddie Villarreal worked for the Housing Authority 10 years ago. His daughter Jennifer had been burned by a toppled range and lost her arm.
I gave him the clip. I said, look, when you're not installing this is what happened in my life. I said, you need to install them.
Clips, anti-tip devices attached to the floor or wall. Raymond's home had no clips.
The family sued the Housing Authority and won $650,000. So we wondered if now, years later, the stoves are safely anchored.
Our random check found 30% very secure. And we saw a lot of this, clips but loose fits. And another 30%, watch.
Put a little bit of pressure here, not much. See how easily that tips over?
We will immediately go out and install those brackets.
So this is not acceptable?
No, it absolutely is not acceptable.
Gonzalez says the Housing Authority schools its maintenance people and residents, and the newly revised lease even warns about moving the stove. We told Dora what we found.
We're not. I mean, nobody's going to think it's going to happen until it happens.
And it did.
And it did.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Now, range manufacturers made these anti-tip devices standard equipment back in 1990, and a lot of you have already called us asking where to find them. You can contact your stove manufacturer, the retailer, or even your landlord.